All right, guys, so something a little bit different here. I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about just the dynamic of social media and the way that it's changed our social landscape and the way that we interact with people. Now, obviously, in terms of social media, it's a function of the World Wide Web. It's the function of the world coming together in one big public sphere. Now, when the internet and like high speed and these forums and these chat rooms were first initiated, people thought this was going to be an amazing opportunity for people from all walks of life to come into one public sphere, a public forum, of,
Right.
if you will, where everybody can hear each other out. But what it's actually turned into is the opposite. We have private chats. Just go look at your Snapchat or look at your Instagram or look at your Twitter or all these places where you can have private group chats, private conversations. See, what we thought the internet would do would be to bring all these ideas from different vantage points together into one big pool. But what we've now done is we've taken those ideologies and we've reclused ourselves into an echo chamber of sorts, into small pockets where we only hear from people that share the same thoughts as us.
That's right.
So as opposed to exposing ourselves to things outside of our comfort zone, we're exposing ourselves to things that we are already comfortable with, and we only get more and more of what we are subscribing to in the first place. Now, that doesn't challenge us in our mindset. That just reinforces our thought process, for better or for worse, depending on the type of people that you're interacting with and what you guys are congregating about. You could be congregating for climate change awareness in a positive light, like we had just the other day here, where we had a rally here in Toronto, or you could be congregating for other reasons, like online, in a social sphere online, like Incels, for example, with what happened at Young and Finch a year and a bit ago. Now, if you guys don't know what happened there, Google search it. I won't get into it. Now, what I'm saying is this. Is what the internet has done, social media has done, is it's removed the necessity to meet and congregate en masse in a physical space.
Sure.
But what hasn't changed is the fact that we are still in a mental space. So just because you're not physically somewhere doesn't mean that you're not participating in a mental state with other people about whatever it is that you're congregating about. Living in an isolated echo chamber is a dangerous thing because all you're hearing is more of what you already believe. If you lean far right, you're going to hear nothing but far right dispositions. If you lean far left, you're going to hear nothing but far left dispositions. And oftentimes what we don't do is expose ourselves to what the other side is going on about. One thing I've actually chosen to do now is I'm going to write a blog post soon. I'm going to subscribe and listen to only the for the opposite side, which would be for me the right side, the conservative, hyper conservative Breitbart and all those different kind of outlets. I'm going to be listening to those for 24 hours and seeing how I feel afterwards, the things that I expose myself to, the thoughts that go through my head, and the dispositions I have if I were to think about living life through that filter all the time. Because realistically, that's the reason why we don't understand each other in today's society, is that lack of exposure. And you can say, yeah, I only subscribe to good things, but you need, in order to reach out to those people who see things differently than you need to obviously see things through the lens that they're seeing. So I think the first of many steps toward a better society is tolerance, and tolerance is only built through exposure to people from different walks of life. I went to school in high school at Earl Hague, and we had 2,000 kids there, and there were kids of every race, creed, color, and background that you could imagine, every socioeconomic background, and that gave me perspective to see that people can look different, talk different, all these different things, and have so many similarities, and yet people can look the same, talk the same, and still have so many differences at the same time. So I think that exposure was beneficial for me to be accepting of the different kinds of things that go on in life, and other people haven't been as privileged as I was to be open to those things.
For sure.
And I think that sometimes I get short-sighted, I find, about how much patience I have or don't have for people who aren't accepting of other cultures, who aren't accepting of other people from that they can't relate to. And that is because of my privilege of coming from a perspective that disallows me to see what the alternative is like, which is why I want to do this thing for 24 hours.
I think that's a great kind of message you're sending out. I come, on the other hand, from a society where it was a lot more closed out. I was kind of like the different one because I'm like half Bulgarian, half Lebanese, and I grew up in Bulgaria, and my first name is not Bulgarian. So right off the bat,
Right.
people knew that I was different. And I've experienced some, discrimination
Yeah.
because of that.
For sure.
I'm not complaining. This is not me complaining
I've
about
even
it.
noticed it, small things like my lack of accent when I go and see other Bajan people or Jamaican people.
Right,
They're like, you
right.
don't have an accent, you're not from here type of thing. Go
Right?
ahead.
No, absolutely, absolutely. People like to get into those like groups
Those clusters.
and kick other people out,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't like that.
We're human beings, and we all have an inclination toward a semblance of belonging, and everyone wants to feel like the group that they belong to is exclusive because
Yes.
that makes them feel that semblance of superiority in a way.
And I want to bring it back to your initial point where you said that the internet could be a great thing for people to congregate around
Right.
positive things where it's either hobbies or
Yep.
what I'm saying, like all kinds of people that might be experiencing illnesses and are homebound. That's
Right.
their only way to communicate
Right.
with other people. That gives them an actual
100%,
social life,
100%.
which could be invaluable. I've seen that with family members even where they've had illnesses and that's been their window to the world, and that's a great thing. But at the same time, it can put you in this little bubble, in this little box
100%.
where you only seek what you want to seek and you get what you seek.
Yeah, 100%. And I agree with you. And like, what's most dangerous about it is we're living in a state of post-truth. And what I mean by post-truth is that objective truth, objective fact is meaning less and less and less to people nowadays. People's subjective dispositions on what things are. It's that's what matters the most. People don't want to understand why, or they want to read their own motive from
Right.
their own subjective perspective into the actions that you take, and let those actions and what they think about those actions be the truth, as opposed to what letting you speak for yourself. And that's one of the most dangerous things, is that we're living in a society where if you don't tell your own story, somebody else is.
Yeah.
And now you're relinquishing control over your own narrative in a way. And that right there is an idea, and an open peels back something that we can talk about maybe moving forward in a little bit, is like athletes and like the way they're controlling their narrative and their necessity to do so. It's because of this phenomena.
Yeah.
It's because of that ostracization. And if you bring it back to humanity's necessity to feel like they're part of something and make that group feel like it's exclusive, is we're just taking something that's a tool, social media, and we're imposing upon it the very nature of humanity, which is to take advantage, to manipulate, and to coerce, and to push narratives in a certain direction,
Absolutely.
and to push people out so that you feel like I'm a part of an exclusive elite club that you cannot be a part of, and that makes them feel like an element of superiority. And that's just something that we have to deal with, not only in a physical space now, but in a mental space, because of the advent of social media and the internet, making these pervasive thoughts so easily and readily accessible.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a tool, like you said, and like any tool, it's up to the user
Exactly.
to do what they may with it. Unfortunately, there's many ill-willed users. There's many people that like that, confirmation bias or whatever you want to call it.
Yes.
That they get, kind of like driven into.
100%. Confirmation bias, the definition of that. Look at like someone like an Antonio Brown right now. He, every time he feels a little bit something about himself, he goes and makes a post. And he posts on social media and he's getting 300,000, 500,000, 700,000 likes on these pictures. He's got 3.4 million followers. This is the type of things that you need that you don't have back in the day, where you'd be stuck in your own head wondering of things about yourself. Well, now you can reach out to the whole world and get that confirmation bias and get that biased report. You don't know where these people are coming from. Are they in your corner, or are they just signing off on you blindly and enabling you into this downward trend of
Very
thought
good point.
process?
So I'm not gonna go deep in that
No, yeah.
topic of incels, but
Right.
that's one that we've seen that they congregate
100%.
online.
Yeah.
They reaffirm their fucked up,
Beliefs,
thoughts
yeah.
and beliefs of like how women are, or how like they should be acting in society or whatever.
Right.
Which is completely wrong, but they get the the reinforcement through other people that are like kind of viewing the world
Yeah.
in. And you're always gonna find other people that are
100%.
just as fucked up as you. And my other point, on the other side of the spectrum, we see that even with the Instagram models and all
Yep.
that stuff.
Yep.
Like, yeah, okay, you're some chick that's, and I've seen that over and over again. Also, girls that are not of age, 17-year-old
Right.
girls, posting a bunch of butt pics on Instagram all the time. And this, like, check their Instagram, this old ass. Like, you're 17 years old. Like, what, like, and you have thousands of followers. people just salivating, thirsty
Well,
guys.
it's kind of like just clout chasing, right? And then you're taking advantage. Like that's the main thing that you see. And this brings me back to the main point I'm having here, which is like cultism in social media is like you have these things that people deify. You have people that are in vulnerable positions mentally.
Yeah.
That other people take advantage of in that social media sphere.
Correct.
I was watching this video and I was talking about cultism. Actually, it was explained, which gave me the idea of talking about some of these things and applying it to the modern day of social media. And there's this woman on YouTube. I wouldn't even say I don't remember her name. I wouldn't say it now to give her any clout because what she's doing to me is ridiculous. But she's basically approaching the topic of suicide and saying, "Hey, it's not that messed up. Like." It's not good. It's not bad. It just might not be for you or it might be for you, depending on this or that. And just normalizing
that's not okay, bro.
Suicide as an act. Not normalizing suicide as a thought. We've all had thoughts.
Of course.
We've all had negative thoughts like that. But normalizing it as an act is a dangerous precedent to set. And she's been quoted saying all sorts of things like, they need me. They need to hear from me. They have no one else to turn to, and they need. But the thing is, you're not steering them in a direction of truth. You're not steering them in a direction of solving these things from the core. You're shepherding these people down a path of you need me in order to survive, which literally is a definition of cultism because now you have this deified individual that you go and turn to. Yeah. But my point is, we don't need a deified individual, singular person to have cultism exist. Cultism can be you deifying a thought or a place that you want to see yourself at.
Yeah.
Like cultism can go from the point of I want clout so much to the point I'm willing to go this length. I want attention so badly I want to go this length. I feel so strongly about my inability to land women in a normal, rational way. And there's other guys that think what I'm thinking and justify what I'm saying. And I'm going to say I'm going to carry out an attack and I'm actually going to do it. These are the type of things that people like that don't need to turn to other like-minded individuals in terms of a moral compass. These people, it's like the blind leading the blind. You can't do that. And I think what's the most important thing is being cognizant and aware of the types of influences that we welcome into our lives and the filter bubbles that we live in, because when you know you're in a filter bubble, at least you'll be able to be aware of when you're only hearing things coming from that one line of thought.
Yeah, just basically try to keep an open mind regardless of your
100%.
situation, and always seek out outside perspectives on your situation.
The only way that we'll grow mentally is by having like contradictory thoughts as opposed to what we already believe, because that makes your belief system stronger. So challenge yourself, put yourself in uncomfortable positions. Adversity is an opportunity to grow, and embrace it every single step of the way. That's my message to you.
And don't give up, and don't get caught up in this whole hype of cultism or whatever you want to define it as. And that's our message to you guys. Hope we help anyone. If we don't, that's just our thoughts out there.
That's it. Let us know in the comment section, of course. As always, let us know. This is a great topic to talk about.
If you like us to talk about more social topics and stuff like that,
please.
We love talking about that stuff, me and Mike. So if you guys like to hear our thoughts on different topics like that, please let us know.
All right, we'll check you on the next video. Hope you enjoyed it. Peace out.
Peace.